Be seated. Okay, we're ready to proceed.
Thank you, Honor. Mr. Arbin, when we broke for lunch, we were in April of 2001. You had answered some questions about a search warrant at your warehouse in South Philadelphia and some conversations you had with Staino and Massimino. I want to pick up at that time period. In that time period, namely April and May of 2001, were you still frequenting Lou's Crab Bar?
Yes.
Do you recall a day when you were at Lou's Crab Bar when you received a call on your cell phone?
A lot of calls.
Do you recall a particular incident when you received a call from your cell phone and you were asked to step outside?
Yes.
Do you recall who that call came from?
No.
And did you step outside?
Yes.
And what happened when you stepped outside?
I saw Mousy, Anthony, and Joe.
Joe who?
Lagambi.
Is Joe Lagambi in the courtroom today?
No dispute about identification.
Okay. So noted.
You stepped outside and saw Joe Massimino,
Yes.
Anthony Staino,
Yes.
and Joe Lagambi.
Yes.
And did you speak with them for a period of time?
For a little bit.
At this time, we're going to play a video for the jury. It's been previously marked as Government Exhibit 3K1. Play that for the jury.
Is forwarding in evidence or just marked? Just forwarding in evidence?
No, it's not.
All right. We agree, Judge.
Okay.
Without formalities, it can be played.
Is admitted. May be played.
Okay, maybe play that for the jury. Video dated May 7th, 2001.
The one you have up there, I think, is
No, that's not.
it's not the right one.
Three K1. Video. Okay, just look for it and let me know. And take that one down, please, that exhibit. Okay, you testified you stepped outside and you saw Joe Lagambi, Joe Massimino, Anthony Staino, and there were some words exchanged at that point,
Yes.
correct? What was discussed at that time?
That they were going to look to buy a route,
And what did that mean, buy a route?
buy a video route.
And were you asked to do anything at that time?
Service the route.
And what did you say in response to that request?
Fine.
And what did you understand that to mean,
I
to
would
service the route?
Service the route, fix the machines if they broke down.
Okay. And a route, what type of route again are you talking about?
A video poker route.
And after you had that, it was a brief exchange of words, correct?
Yeah.
What did you do after that? Go back into the bar?
Went back in.
Did Massimino say anything during that discussion you had?
No.
Did Staino say
Oh,
anything?
he introduced me to Joe, that's all.
Introduced you to Joe Lagambi?
Yeah.
And did Joe Lagambi say anything to you?
No.
What happened after you strike that? After you had that discussion, did you have another discussion with Anthony Staino about servicing this new route that they were going to buy?
I told him if he wanted me to service, I'd like him to set it up as a regular business. Go to City Hall, get a business license, make it run just like a business, pay the taxes, and I'd have no problem with that. And Anthony says, fine.
Why did you tell Staino to run it like a regular business? First of all, what did you mean by regular
Like my
business?
business, just for peace of mind. Just like you have a business, and you have business checks, and you have business licenses, and you run like a business.
And when you said it was just like my business, what business were you referring to?
Ace Vending.
And did Staino say anything in response to that?
He asked me how we would do it. I told him to go up to City Hall, you get a business privilege license, and then you grab a lawyer, and you make a corporation, or you have like single proprietorship, which I'm sure he did.
And I think you said to avoid aggravation. Did you use that phrase?
To make the business?
Yeah.
For everybody to avoid aggravation. If you're having a business and it's run like a business, there is no aggravation, and nobody should be bothering you.
What do you mean nobody should be bothering you?
Can't explain it, because in '91 you took machines, but you left my machines, and I think that was the little discussion, was why do these machines leave, but your machines are still here? I said, because I have a business license. I pay my taxes, so they leave it alone. So I tried to...
Who leaves what alone?
Well, the state police left my machines alone in that '91 raid. My machines were on the other side. They basically only took the black machines up against the far wall.
And who did they belong to?
I took Anthony, I would think. I'm not going to say they did, because I don't know who put them in there.
They weren't your machines.
No, they weren't my machines.
And I would object to the conclusion that they were Anthony's, Judge.
Well, okay, you say he didn't know who put him in there, so. Okay.
Now, back to this regular business discussion. Ace Vending had what exactly license? You said a tax license or a business license?
Business privilege license. You get a city business privilege license, and then you go incorporate yourself, or you run it as single proprietorship. You run it just like a corner store, but it's run like a business instead. I run my business out of Mountain Street. I use that as my office.
And you had a tax business privilege license?
Yeah.
Had a checkbook?
Yeah.
Okay. You had a regular business. Ace Vending was a regular business. Okay. That's what you meant by regular business,
Right,
same as yours.
exactly.
Okay, Your Honor, I think at this time we're prepared to play the video.
Okay?
That's Mark is going to 3K3. Do you see that, Mr. Arbeman?
Yeah.
Okay, can we stop the video right there, please? There were two people in the picture at that point. One of them is actually off the screen. Did you see that?
Yes.
The person in the screen in the yellow shirt, can you identify that person?
It's Joe.
The person who walked off about a second before that, could you identify that person?
It's Mousy.
Okay, let's resume the playing of the video. Person in the black and white shirt, you recognize that person?
Anthony.
Anthony Staino.
Yes.
Person appears to be speaking on the cell phone. Do you know who that is?
Mousy.
Do you recognize the location of this video?
Outside of Lou's.
Do you recognize the fourth person who's now depicted in the video?
It's me when I was heavy.
Okay, did one of the people leave the area out in front of Lou's Crab Bar at this point in the video?
Yes,
And who was that?
that was me.
And where did you go?
Went back in the bar.
And two people just entered the bar at that point. Who entered the bar at that point?
Mousy and Anthony.
Now, having reviewed that video, does that refresh your recollection as to when you had the conversation with Legambi, Staino, and Massimino about buying a new route?
Yes, I didn't look at the date though.
No, not the date, but does that
Yeah.
video, is that when that conversation, that discussion occurred? At that,
Yes.
what we just saw?
Yes,
Are you familiar with something called JMA?
yes.
What is JMA?
It's Anthony's company.
Anthony's company?
Yes.
Meaning Anthony Staino?
Yes.
Do you know what the letters JMA stand for?
Joe, Mousy, and Anthony.
Objection, Judge, it's hearsay.
Well, what is your understanding of what those letters stood for?
Joe, Mousy, and Anthony.
That's his state of mind as to what he believed
Yeah, but then from where's that information gathered?
I'm sorry?
From where was that information gathered? If it was gathered from others, then it's hearsay.
Well, it's not for the truth of the matter.
Okay.
That was your understanding of what those letters meant, correct?
Yeah,
And the J was for Joe?
Joe.
Joe who?
Could have been Joe Legambi because he was there. Could have been Joe Massimino because
Well,
he was
let's-
there.
It was
Mousy.
JMA, correct?
Yeah,
J was you said J was for Joe.
right.
M is for Mousy, is what you said?
Mousy,
And A was for who?
Anthony,
And who was Anthony?
Anthony Staino.
And what was the business activity of JMA?
Video pokers, video games,
What type of video games?
pokers, and cherries.
And did you continue to service video poker machines and video slot machines for JMA?
Yes,
What did you do for JMA?
fixed them. Fixed them. I sold them a couple. Mainly just kept them running.
And how long did you do that for?
Pretty long. 10 years.
How
Up-
about, let
up
me give you a
until-
date to see if this refreshes your recollection. September of 2009?
Yes,
Did something happen in September of 2009?
yes.
What happened in September of 2009?
The warehouse got raided again.
The second time?
Yeah,
And who raided it the second time?
everybody.
Meaning who?
Oh, the FBI, the state police, the regular police, everybody, every law enforcement person there is.
Now, from the time period of which we were, the video we just watched, which, just for the record, had a date on it of May of 2001, up through the time period of September of 2009. Did you service video poker machines and video slot machines for JMA during that period?
Yes,
How frequently would you work for JMA? Once a week, once a month? What's your best recollection?
after they got up and running, maybe once every couple of weeks, once a week, when something broke down.
And did you do anything else besides service the machines for JMA?
I offered, but no.
Did you ever sell them any machines?
Yes,
What kind of machines did you sell JMA?
sold them a couple pokers, a couple cherries,
Did they
some cabinets
cabinets for what?
to fix up the machines that were getting broken into.
To your knowledge, were those machines? Well, let's strike that. You said you continued to service the machines from 2001 through 2009. Did you charge JMA for the service work you did?
Parts. Parts.
What do you mean parts?
Parts. Bill acceptors, cabinets, buttons, monitors, whatever broke.
Okay, so you charged JMA for the parts that you had to buy to repair the machines.
Sure,
So you were reimbursed for the cost of buying the parts.
every time.
How about the cost of the labor services you were providing to service the machines? Did you charge anyone for the labor services you were providing?
One time,
One time in 10 years?
yeah.
Okay. How about all the other, any the other service you worked in that 10-year period? Did you charge anybody for that?
No,
Did you ever get paid for all the labor you were doing for JMA?
no, I didn't ask.
When you were doing the service work, did you go to the locations where the JMA machines were located?
Yeah,
And did you observe them when you went to those locations?
yeah,
And did you go to them when the locations were open and had customers in them?
yeah,
And did you also, on occasion, do the meter countering that you described before for the other machines?
yes,
Is it, would it just, by, the short chain to hurry up what we're getting through, did you essentially, we listened to a number of conversations before the lunch hour that described what you were doing for Staino during the period 2001. Recall that?
yeah,
Did you continue to do essentially the same type of work and activities for JMA from 2001 going forward to 2009?
yeah,
To your knowledge, were the machines that were in those JMA locations, were they being used for gambling purposes?
yes.
Now, I just want to run a couple names by you and see if you, my question for these names is, were these locations that you serviced for JMA? Follow?
Right,
Okay. Do you remember something called the AZ Club?
yes.
What was the AZ Club?
A club on the second flip. It was a private club, after hours club.
What do you mean an after-hours club?
I don't think it opened till about 11.
What kind of club was it?
Nightclub, disco club back then?
Called location?
No,
South Philadelphia?
yeah,
I think you said it was, you thought it was on the second floor? Is that,
second floor or something.
don't recall the location, but it was in the second floor of a building?
Right, on a little street.
Were there video poker or video slot machines at that location?
I think there was one of each.
And did you service them?
Yes,
Did those machines belong to JMA?
one of them.
To your knowledge, was that machine used for gambling?
Yeah,
Do you recognize the name Blue Suede?
yes.
Your Honor, going back to A to Z Club, if you just have a time frame as to when
Okay?
What time period did you service machines at AZ Club?
I think only twice in the whole time, from 2001 to 2009.
Okay. Do you recall the specific
Dates?
years? Or can't
No.
recall the dates? Okay, but it was in that time frame?
Yeah,
Okay. Blue Suede, you recognize that?
yeah,
What was Blue Suede?
yes.
What was Blue Suede?
A bar, neighborhood bar.
Do you recall where that was located?
Moymansing Avenue, 16th, 17th.
Were there video poker or video slot machines in that location?
One,
Did you service it for JMA?
yeah,
Did JMA own that machine?
yeah.
To your knowledge, was it used for gambling?
No,
No, it wasn't, or no, you don't know?
no, I don't know.
Okay. Do you remember a location, Cooley's or Coley's?
Coley's, right.
Is it Coley's or Cooley's?
I don't know, it's Irish bar.
It's an Irish bar?
Yeah.
Cooley's, possibly?
Cooley's,
Okay.
Cooley's or Coley's,
It was a bar,
spelt the same way, yeah.
but it was a bar, correct?
Yeah,
Do you recall where that was located?
Third and Porter,
Were there, did you service machines at that location?
one,
What kind of machine was it?
Dodge City,
Who did that machine belong to?
Anthony,
Anthony Staino?
yeah.
And was that machine used for gambling?
I don't know that.
Grumpy's?
Yes,
Recognize that name?
mm-hmm.
What's Grumpy's?
That's a bar.
Where's that located, if you know, do you recall?
9th Street,
All these locations are in South Philadelphia, correct?
yeah,
Were there video machines in Grumpy's?
yes.
Do you recall how many?
2,
What kind?
Dodge City,
And did you service them?
Yes.
And were they used for gambling?
That I don't know either.
When you went to these locations, both before and after the JMA business started up, would you leave business cards at the locations?
Yeah,
Why would you do that?
to save aggravation.
What do you mean aggravation?
This way they wouldn't have to call Anthony, and then Anthony wouldn't have to call me. They would call me, and I'd set it into my little route to get it done.
Who would call you?
The owners of the bar.
Group of exhibits.
These are old CZ locations. Okay, the bar. Okay. We have no objection to any of these, Judge. They can be admitted and shown to the jury without formality.
Okay?
Okay. Let's display 2A5. Is that one of your business cards?
Just admit it.
Yes. It's an old one.
Yeah, can you, there's 2 addresses and 2 telephone numbers on that.
Right.
Does that help you identify the time frame for that business card?
It's before cell phones.
Before cell phones.
Well, it's a beeper number up top.
Okay. Let's display 2F3. Is that the same type of business card?
I think that is the same one.
Okay. That's one of your business
Oh,
cards?
you know what? That might be before I bought the warehouse. That's a really old one.
This doesn't have your warehouse address on it, correct?
Right.
Let's display 2N5. Can you identify that item?
Yes.
What's that?
That's after I bought the warehouse.
That's your business card?
Yeah.
Is that your telephone number on there?
Yeah.
Would these be the type of business cards you would leave at the locations for the owners to call you directly?
Yeah. Is that good?
After you started providing services to JMA, you testified earlier about the practice of using the little brown envelopes to occasionally leave messages in the machine for Anthony. Do you recall
Yeah.
that? Did you continue to use that practice?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to hand you an item that's marked 2S8. She's at the site.
No objection, then,
Actually,
Judge.
she's out of the machine after it was taken to the site.
Fine.
Okay, can we display 2S8 for the jury, please? Now, may I first do this? I'm sorry, you'll have it in your screen. Do you recognize that item?
Yes.
What is that?
That's one of my little yellow envelopes to tell Anthony what I fixed in the machine.
Okay, and
Admit it.
at the top of the left-hand corner of that item, the letters ANT, do you recognize, what does that mean?
And
And there's also the number in parenthetical 7590. Do you understand what that means?
yes.
And the message says add 7590 to your count. Can you explain to the jury what the message means?
It means it looks like the Rams blew on a board while I was placing it, and before it went out, the count was 7590. So after I put a new board in there, I just put add 7590.
Why did you?
Your Honor, I don't mean to interrupt, but if we could just get a time frame and a location as to where this came from?
Yeah, there's a date there, but I don't know what that means. Why don't you establish
Your Honor, for the record, and we'll tie this up later, this was actually, I believe it was found by.
Well, does he know when
No,
it is?
he doesn't. He doesn't know, Your Honor. No. He just identified. Is this your handwriting?
Yeah,
And this is a message that you left for Anthony Staino?
yeah.
Do you know when you left the message?
Before 11/12, no, I don't.
Your Honor, for the record, the date is from the season.
On the bottom, it says 11/12. November 12.
11/12,
11/2/12.
That's not your handwriting, is it?
No.
It's also Q1. That's not your handwriting.
No.
But the rest of the handwriting is your handwriting.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Add your count. What does that mean?
That means if he went in and he looked at the count, if there was only 100, add 7590. So I would make it 7690, because the board would be new and I replaced the bad board, put a new board in. The old board had 7590 on it, so there was already 7590 in games up there. So Anthony would be fair, I would be fair, everybody would be happy. That's what he had to add to the count.
The count of the credits, is that what you're saying?
Credits, yeah.
To your knowledge, after you were working, during the time period that you were working for JMA from 2001 through 2009, was Anthony Staino continuing to do the same thing that he had done before, namely go to the machines and collect?
Yeah.
Judge, I'm not sure we got that exhibit number in the record.
For the record, the envelope that Mr. Arterman described as Ant 7590 is marked as 2S8. And did you periodically, during the period when you were providing labor for JMA in connection with these machines, did you periodically discuss your activities with Mr. Massimino?
For
Did you ever
what I
have
was doing with Anthony? Yes.
Yes. Did you
Yes.
continue to have conversations with Joseph Massimino as well as Anthony Staino?
Yeah,
And that was about the work you were doing for JMA.
right.
Now, at this time, we'll play a couple more conversations. These are, again, in Book 3, the transcript book. Okay, the first tape that the government will play is Government Exhibit. Before we go into this, just one other follow-up question. You talked about the locations you were servicing for JMA. Were they, in addition to the ones you had been servicing before JMA was organized?
Yes.
So these were new stops, correct?
Yeah.
Did you continue to service some of the old ones that you had been servicing in the early part of 2001?
If they were still in business, yeah.
Okay. So you serviced some of the old stops and began servicing new stops as well.
Correct.
Okay. Now let's play tape identified as Government Exhibit 1-180. It's behind tab 180. And the transcript is identified as Exhibit 1-180A. It's a conversation dated September 29th, year 2003 at 9:07 a.m. Okay, that's enough of that portion. Mr. Ardman, you recognize those voices?
Yeah.
Who are the voices?
Myself and Mousy.
Now, calling your attention, it's only a one-page transcript, but look at line 9. Massimino makes a reference to Pasquale. And actually, before that, he uses the word effing monitor. What did you understand Massimino to be referring to when he said effing monitor?
That it broke again.
What kind of monitor?
Video monitor.
And Pasquale, do you recognize that name?
Yeah.
Who's Pasquale?
Pasquale.
Heard earlier in the conversations this morning?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Bottom of line 8, you said, I told Anthony, I'll run over there now. Who were you referring to when you said, I told Anthony?
Anthony Staino.
Let's move on to Government Exhibit 1-181, behind tab 181. The recording is identified as Government Exhibit 1-181. The transcript is identified as Government Exhibit 1-181A. And the date of this conversation is June 17th, 2004. The time of the conversation is 9:36 a.m.
Yeah, I'll be there in 5 minutes. Oh, no, I actually called the 8 o'clock. After I hit you up with a phone. That's the way I'll do it. Keep from putting up for games. I'm putting this living here, and that's probably be happy.
Mr. Arbin, you recognize those voices?
Yeah.
Who are those voices?
Me, Mousy.
Mr. Massey makes the reference. Mousy, you mean Joseph Massimino?
Yes.
Mousy makes the reference to Grumpy's.
Yes.
Is that one of the locations where JMA had video machines
Yes.
and they were being used for gambling? To
I
your
don't-
knowledge, do you know?
No, I don't know. To my knowledge, no. I don't know.
When you say it keeps putting up free games, what were you referring to when you say it was putting up free games?
There was probably a bad RAM on the board, or else a bad toggle switch or a bad bill acceptor, where it would just put games up at will.
And what was the problem with just putting up free games? Why was that a problem?
It's broke. Then the games go up and they never go off.
Well, do you collect any money if the machine is giving out free games?
No, but you can't play it either because it just keeps on going up.
Okay, let's move forward. Let's play. Actually, I'm sorry, we have to move backwards at this point. Let's go to tab 167. This is Government Exhibit 1-167. The transcript is behind tab 167. The transcript is identified as Government Exhibit 1-167A. For the record, it's a conversation dated September 9th, 2009. And its time is 2:14 p.m. Do you have that in front of you?
Kurt, the Dodge City in the rear, in the back, the quarters are hanging up. No problem, bud. I'll see you in about 5 minutes.
Mr. Arbin, do you recognize those voices?
It's me and Frank.
Who's Frank?
I think Frank owns the Knicks.
Frank owns the Knicks.
That's what it sounds like. It sounds like his voice.
Okay. When he says the Dodge City, what in the rear? Do you know what he's talking about?
Well, he had one in the front of the bar, one in the rear of the bar, on each side of the walking box, on each side of the beer box, takeout box.
And was that a machine that you serviced for JMA?
Yeah.
Now let's move forward to tab 186. The next recording we'll play is Government Exhibit 1-186. The transcript is behind tab 186. The transcript is identified as Government 1-186, letter A. The date of the recording is August 31st, 2009. The time of the recording is 2:45 p.m. Do you have that in front of you?
Yes.
Okay, let's play that one.
What do you need there, brother? Who did? No shit. And should have said who got the. You don't ever say anybody else. I know they don't. That's what I'm saying. If I was just going around and saying everything. Yeah, what do you want me to do? Put another one in there? No, I'm just saying. Probably you can. They give us, I don't know, did they make you sign the paper? Well, I'm sure when he gets to, I guess he's got to go to court, right? Yeah, well, we can't get that back. As a lawyer, of course, it's more to give it back. I would just put another one in there. No, I think, what they did, to leave it out? Yeah, but that's when, I don't know. I know down with the motorcycle guys, that's what they did, but I don't know what they do with him. He don't even pay people, so I don't understand that. And they didn't lock anybody up?
They didn't lock anybody
Did
up.
they give him paperwork saying they took it?
Oh, yeah. He told me, he rang in and said, we're taking a machine, we paid somebody else. He said, rang and said they paid it, I'm going to probably walk and sit there. They didn't lock anybody up.
Right.
And they just said it's a routine thing.
Well, somebody had a complaint on it, that's what happened. Because I didn't hear them up in that neighborhood at all. You know what I mean?
So I just say that's fine, but you learn stuff.
Oh, yeah, they must be up in that neighborhood again, doing it. You know, they do whatever they want anymore, these guys.
Yeah, because they just take them.
Yeah, they just take them.
They just take them in, they were taking a machine, they put a bartender and Bruce, they call him Bruce, the guy says, I paid it off to the cop or something. And, it's just a really good formality.
Yeah, unbelievable. All right.
People that said that,
Well, you tell me what, you tell me, you still got a couple of them up there. If you want to, you do. I don't think they want to make him sign anything.
they might.
But I tell you what, they were up and down Second Street for underage drinking the weekend.
Right.
They were in D's, McKenna's, O'John's. They were all over the place. But all they were doing was giving out citations. They sent somebody in and asked for takeout. And if they didn't card the guy, they gave him a citation for not carding him. The one girl said, the kid looks like he's 28, 29 years old. I would have never carded him. And then the other two cops were in there and said he's only 19. You know, I tell you, your time now, I guess. If you get in trouble when you're young, you work for the state police. You run in there, you try to grab cigarettes off somebody. That's another deal.
It'll be a cop, too.
Well, a guy trying to get in the state police. But on the one bar, they have him on film. You see, he's bald. Fucking guy got a bald head.
Yeah, but I'm saying, he could probably be a cop at 19.
Oh, without a doubt he could. Mm-hmm.
That's
You know, you're like a regular cop trying to be a state trooper.
Yeah, it's a regular cop at time for that dude.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? If they put him in, and that's it.
Yeah. All right, well, you tell me what you want to do.
Well,
I'm sure that Bruce wants to put a back up for you.
yeah, I'm just basically calling you to tell you, just, you know.
You should watch yourself.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
I mean, even though, I mean, this is so ridiculous. He said he want to get a citation.
Yeah, gambling citation, $50 the first time. Unless he has other things against me. All right. Unbelievable. And then, you know, with killers, they don't even make no money no more. I mean, like back in the day when everybody was making money, when we were all down the shore, and these old guys that are dead now were all making money, they never got bothered ever. Now they don't make a nickel, and that's all they do is get bothered.
Yeah, I want to do, you know, the junior, I mean,
Yeah, it's just part of life anymore.
legal proceed, they come in and say,
They just say, they could say anything.
did you have anything that you passed on down? I think they had before.
Pass something what?
Go past Rob,
Yeah, I have a mega touch.
and I think he blew it up. That's the reason.
Yeah.
But it got right by it, real quick.
I know the guy owns the building. Maybe the guy, you know that guy, he's bad with paying bills. Maybe he didn't pay rent. I'll pass by you now, and I'll give you a call back, let you know.
Yeah, I mean, I've been there just, and then the other guy, that guy's phone is just connected.
I don't think it's stealing my machine. Amy said they bills and boarded up with a mega touch. And I'm on by here. I'll let you know when. All right.
Mr. Arvin, did you recognize the voices on that recording?
Yes.
Okay, now calling your attention to page 1, line 3. Anthony Staino says they just went to Blue Suede and took the machine out. What did you understand Staino to be talking about when he said they took the machine out?
Police picked it up. confiscated it.
Confiscated, picked up what?
Dodge City.
And what's the reference to blue suede?
That's where they picked it up from.
The location?
Yeah,
That's one of the locations that you were servicing for JMA.
right.
Now, line 10, you say, should have said, he don't ever pay anybody out. What did you mean when you said, should have said, he don't pay anybody out?
Should have said. Well, he didn't. But should have said.
No, calling your attention
I'm
to
saying
line 10.
I'm saying 10. Should have said, you don't ever pay anybody out.
Right. What did you mean when you said
The
that?
owner
Anthony Staino?
should have told the state. Well, whoever took the state police, he said vice. Should have told the vice guy, I don't pay anybody out.
Who should have said that?
The owner of the bar,
Who was the owner?
Bruce.
Bottom of the page.
Well, Judge, under Rule 106, completeness, I think the next two lines should be read, the Staino response.
No, well, the rule of completeness, we played the complete tape. It's in evidence.
It was played, but now it's being read selectively.
I'm just asking. I'm asking the witnesses specific
Overruled.
questions. Look at line 19 on page 1. You said to Staino, well, you ain't getting that back. What did you mean when you said you ain't getting that back?
It costs more to get him back. It costs more to get him back than to go try to get it back. If you get it back, it costs more to pay to get it back than go buy a new one.
To get what back?
The Dodge City.
Now, look at page 2, line 7. You said he don't even pay people, so I don't understand that. Who were you referring to when you said he don't even pay people?
Bruce,
And who was Bruce?
the owner.
Now, didn't you, in response to one of my questions earlier, say you didn't know if the machines in Blue Suede were being used for gambling purposes?
Correct.
Now, let's go to page 3, lines 12 and 13. You say to Staino, you tell me you still got a couple of them up there. What were you referring to when you said you still got a couple of them up there?
He probably still had a couple in the warehouse hanging around. A couple Dodge Cities.
Who had a couple Dodge Cities?
Anthony.
Okay. And then you say if you want to, you do. What were you referring to? What did you mean to Staino when you said if you want to, you do?
If you want to put it back in, you do put it back in.
Moving forward, page 4, line 12. You said to Staino, all right, you tell me what you want to do. What did you mean when you said, tell me what you want to do?
If he wants to put it back in, I'll go put it back in for him.
Put what back in?
Dodge City.
Go to page 5, line 8. Lines 8 through 9, you say back in the day when everybody was making money. What were you referring to when you said back in the day when everybody was making money?
Like in the 70s, early 70s, early 80s.
What does that mean? Back in
The day. It's back in the day, 30 years ago, when the machines when they first came out.
Okay. When you said when we were all down the shore, what was that a reference to?
Well, when they first came out, I was down the shore working.
In Atlantic City?
Yes.
Wasn't it that in the 80s when you were working at the casinos?
Early 80s.
Into the 90s, correct?
No, I think I was back by the 90s.
By the 90s?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was in crap school down there in 79 or 80.
Okay. Okay. Let's play. This time we'll play a tape identified as Government Exhibit 1-185. Before we play that, let me ask you one question. You testified earlier that Lucha Bello had video machines in the Knicks?
At the end, yes.
And what do you mean at the end?
At the end of September, at the end of when we had them, September 2009. Yeah,
And where was Lucibello's machines?
in the Knicks.
And were they being used for gambling purposes?
Yeah.
Okay, let's play tape number 1-185, which is behind tab 185. The transcript is identified as Government Exhibit 1-185A. The date of this recording is August 20th, 2009 at 2:55 p.m.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he wants to know if he had a good week or a bad week.
It's been over there for 2 days.
It's been there for 2 days, is it a good week or a bad week?
It's, it seems like about an average week for him anymore. 455, 445. It's a great week compared to the other people. Tremendous. Especially compared to Quattro.
Who'd you leave it with, Kurt?
Let's see, who worked yesterday?
Danielle?
Danielle, yeah.
All right.
And Danielle, I told her to put it in the register, so look underneath the drawer.
Okay.
I figured you guys run in and it's go, you know.
Danielle will call me and tell me she has it. And I decided to go in and get shit off today, please.
Oh, well, you know what it is? Oh, in your kitchen?
Yeah, in your kitchen.
Wonderful. It's always something, so you never know.
Yeah, it's always something.
Filter out and always
I
something.
gotta just get a chip cookie. It's the
Yeah, I was going to leave it over to Carl, but they had that golf out yesterday.
Yeah.
There was nobody there.
Yeah, well, we're just going to one person will get it.
Yeah, just go over. Matter of fact, I'm going over there to put that phone speaker back in right now.
All right, Bonnie girl's working. It seems she has it, you know?
Well, I'll make sure if it's there, I'll give you a call back. It's got to be there. I put it there yesterday.
Okay.
All right.
All right, bye.
Mr. Arbin, you recognize the speakers in that recording?
Yeah.
Who are the speakers?
Me, Sue.
And who is Sue?
Gaten's girlfriend.
And at the beginning, on page 1 of the transcript, line 2, Sue says he wants to know if he had a good week or a bad. Who do you understand Sue to be referring to when he
Gaten.
said he?
Gaten, I'm sorry.
Gaten Lucibella.
Yeah.
And what did you understand Sue to mean if by the reference a good week or a bad week?
The take for the machines.
What do you mean the take?
The take how much money came out of the machines for Gaten.
The video?
Pokers.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then at lines 7 through 9, 7 through 10, you say 455, 445. Well, what do those numbers mean?
Means 455, I couldn't remember which, 455, 445, so I gave her a roundabout.
What does that number 455 refer to?
How much money came out of the machines for him?
And is it $454 or $4.54? What are you talking
Oh,
about?
$455.
And that would have been the take out of Lucibel's video machine for that week, correct?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Is it 2 weeks or 1 week?
Every 2 weeks.
Well, if you look at line 7, you say it seems like about an average week, correct?
Yeah, but I do everything every 2 weeks.
Now, there's a reference to top of page 2, line 1, there's a reference to Danielle, and line 3 you say, Danielle, I saw her put it in the register. Who is Danielle?
Danielle was the bartender.
At the
Quattro.
Next- at the
No,
next or
Quattro.
Okay,
Quattro.
Yes, I'm sorry, there was a reference to Quattro's. What was that reference? Page 1, line 14, you made a reference to Quattro's. What does that mean, Quattro's?
The machine of Quattro didn't do anything. Tremendous, especially compared to Quattro,
Okay.
because that Quattro didn't make no money.
Did Lucibella have a machine or machines in Quattro?
One.
Where did Danielle work? Quattro's or the Knicks?
Quattros.
And so at line 3, did you leave something for Lucibello with Danielle at the Quattro bar?
Yes.
And you say, I saw her put it in the register. What are you referring to when you say, I saw her put it in the register?
Put the money in the register.
Now, at this time, namely September of 2009, were you also servicing Gaten Lucibello's machines?
Yeah.
And were you charging him for that service?
No.
Back to the JMA. To your knowledge, did JMA have a business office?
No.
What is the address of your personal residence?
831 Howard.
831 Howard Street?
Yeah.
And what is the address of your warehouse, Ace Vending Warehouse?
824, 826 Mountain.
Okay. So your home address is 831 Howard. Your business address is 824 Mountain.
Perfect.
Are you familiar with an address, 831 Mountain Street?
That would be across the street from the warehouse.
And what is located across the street from the warehouse?
Houses.
At this time, may we display photograph 3K1 to the jury?
See the photo? No problem.
I'm sorry. I believe it's the next one, 3K2. Okay, displayed in front of you is a photograph marked 3K2. Do you recognize the location depicted in that photograph?
Yes.
What is that?
That would be the house across the street. Doesn't look like that now, though.
Is that what it looked like back in, say, 2001 time
Yeah.
period?
Yes.
Okay. Is that 831 Mountain Street?
Yeah.
Does it appear to be a personal residence?
No. Oh, yes. Yeah.
Did you ever see Anthony Staino, Joseph Massimino, or Joseph Legambi going in or out of that property?
No.
Did you ever see any video poker machines or video slot machines going in or out of that property?
No.
Were you aware that in corporate papers filed with the Pennsylvania State Department, JMA,
Objection.
Sustained.
do you have any knowledge of what the official business address for JMA is? Do you have any knowledge? Do you have any knowledge of that information?
Objection.
Well, there's no foundation for that knowledge.
Did you at some time come to learn what the official business address for JMA is?
Yeah.
What did you learn?
I learned it was this house.
Objection.
How did he learn that?
How did you learn it?
Off you.
Well,
So it would be stricken.
in the course of your preparing for trial, did you look at a document? Did somebody present you a document?
Yes.
Did you,
Objection.
what,
If we're now going to learn, he
Yeah.
presented the document. We're right back where we started.
Does he have any independent knowledge at
Aside
the
from the
time that you
information-
were dealing with this company? Did you know their address?
No.
Okay.
yeah, we'll tie that up with another witness. To your knowledge, did JMA have any employees?
No.
Did you ever encounter anybody in the course of the 10 years that you were providing labor to JMA that identified themselves as an employee of JMA?
No.
Did you understand JMA to anybody besides Legambi or Staino or Massimino to be involved in JMA?
No.
Did you ever hear the name Olivia Legambi?
No.
In the 10 years that you worked for, were providing services for JMA, did you ever deal with somebody known to you as Olivia Legambi?
No.
Now, you serviced machines after JMA started the new route, correct?
Yeah.
Did you come to learn where those machines came from?
Yeah.
And where did they come from?
Objection, Judge Hussein.
How did you come to learn where those machines came from?
Anthony.
What did Anthony tell you?
He said they were going to buy M&P route. They were going to buy a route off the M&P vending.
M&P Vending?
Yeah.
Did you recognize that name when Staino said that?
I knew him, yeah.
And who was M&P Vending?
I knew Joe and Paulie. I didn't know the older guys.
Who were Joe and Polly?
They were, I think they worked for M&P.
And what kind of business did M&P run?
Same as mine.
To your knowledge, did M&P have video poker machines and video slot machines?
Probably both.
When you were servicing the machines, did you recognize them as belonging to any particular company? Did they? First of all, they didn't belong. The machines on the new stops that you started servicing after JMA came onto the scene, were they Ace vending machines?
No.
When you serviced them, were you able to identify whose machines some of them, any of them belonged to? Were you able to do that?
No.
Now, are you familiar with something called the First Ward Club?
Yes.
How are you familiar with the First Ward Club?
I was offered the jukebox, the Mega Touch, and the shuffleboard in there.
What do you mean you were offered those items? What do you mean?
To put those items in there when it became First Ward, when they opened up.
Okay.
I was offered to put those machines in there.
You were offered to service the location with your
Yes.
machines? Okay. And did you do that?
Yeah.
And who offered you that?
Marty.
Marty who?
Angelini.
And did you do that?
Yeah.
And do you recall when it opened up?
No.
When would you go to the First Ward Club to service your machines?
Yeah.
And where was the First Ward Club located?
20th and Wolf.
And that's in South Philadelphia?
Yes.
Did Angelina, when he offered you to put your machines in there at that location, did he ask you to do anything else?
Keep his machines working.
And what did he mean when he said keep his machines working?
He was going to put 2 Dodge Cities in there.
And what did you do in response to that to that request from Marty Angelino?
I thought that was a fair deal, so yeah. I kept his machines
Mr.
working and I
Arman?
put my stuff in.
The question was, what did you do in response to Mr. Angelino's request that you service his Dodge City machines? What did you do?
I serviced them.
Did you charge Angelina for the services you provided for him?
No.
How many Dodge Cities were in the First Ward Club when it opened up?
2.
And did anything happen to those machines?
They got taken.
What happened after they got taken?
He bought 2 off of me.
To what?
2 Dodge Cities.
And to your knowledge, were the Dodge City poker machines in the First Ward Republican Club being used for gambling purposes?
Yes.
In the course of, did Marty Angelina tell you anything about who would be working in the club, in the First Ward Republican Club?
No.
When you went there to service the machine, who did you deal with?
There was a small guy during the days, and there was a small guy. I didn't know his name. I can't remember his name.
Was there anybody else you would see in the club?
Lisa. She was there time to time.
Was there a male that you dealt with when you went to the first club?
Yeah, that was the little guy.
The little guy, do you recall his name?
No, I can't do it.
Do you know what he would look like if you saw a picture of him?
Probably.
Okay. Would you just display photograph 6D6 but not display it to the jury?
That's just 66?
6, letter D dash.
66, okay.
Do not display it to the jury at this time. That's the wrong picture. Six D six. 6D's and dog 6. Okay. You see that photograph?
Yes.
Do you recognize that person?
Yeah, it's Eric.
That's Eric.
Eric,
And who was Eric?
he owns it. He
Owns
owns
what?
the First Ward.
Did you deal with him when you went to a First Ward club to service the machines?
Time to time, not too often.
Do you know his last name?
Esposito?
Eric Esposito?
Yeah.
Any objection to displaying his photographs to the jury?
None.
Okay, it's admitted, it may be displayed.
For the the record, the exhibit being displayed is Government Exhibit 66, and again, just for the record, Mr. Arberman, can you identify that person?
Eric
All right.
Esposito.
And he's the person you would see at the First Ward Club. First Ward Republican.
Every couple months, yeah.
Who owned the machines, the First Ward Republican Club?
Marty.
Did there come a time when you had a conversation with Mr. Angelina about those machines,
About his machines.
about his machines?
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay, what was the conversation? What do you recall of that conversation with Marty Angelino?
He thought he was going to get ready to go to jail, so he wanted me to do his counts for him.
Do his counts for him?
Yeah.
Okay, what does that mean, do his counts for him?
I mean, he's collect his money. Do his I take the numbers every couple weeks, and then his was once a month. And then pick up his money while he's away.
What money?
The money out of Dodge Cities.
This is scenes from the First Ward.
No, this was actually CC1.
Okay, well, what's that number?
2T31.
Okay, no objection, Judge.
Okay.
May we display this item to the witness, please?
What is the item?
The item is marked Government Exhibit 2, letter T, 3-1.
Is admitted without objection.
Do you recognize that item, Mr. Arberman?
Yes,
What is that item?
that's one of my yellow envelopes.
And what,
With-
I'm sorry, continue.
One of the yellow envelopes with the count for Marty,
And again, what counts of what?
the counts of the 2 Dodge Cities.
The top of that envelope, is that your handwriting?
Yeah,
The top of the envelope, there seems to be a word written in there. What's that?
Ward,
What's that a reference to?
First Ward.
Now, underneath Ward, it looks like there's 3 columns. Can you explain what those columns are?
First column is one machine, the second column is the date, the third column is the second machine.
So, and what do these numbers represent?
The intake meter on the first one, the date I was there to collect it, and the intake meter on the second one.
You testified earlier, Marty Angelina asked you to keep track of the counts at the machines in the First Ward Club, correct?
Yeah,
And is this the document you were referring to?
yeah.
Can you, looking at this exhibit, are you able to determine how much money went into the machines during that time period? It looks like the first date is 1/19 and the last date is 9/15. Is that correct?
Yes.
Can you determine, and you prepared this document, correct?
Yeah.
Can you determine how much money was placed into those 2 machines during that time period?
We have an idea of what year this is, Mayor?
Do you know what year this is?
Would be when he was in jail. I don't know.
You have a range around what we're talking about?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
Looking at that, can you,
Yeah, maybe this was the last year.
last year,
Yeah. It
2009?
ends in September, so
In fact, I believe you testified your warehouse was raided a second time on September 16th, 2009.
correct.
The last date on this item is 9/15.
Yeah,
Does that refresh your recollection that this may have occurred in 2009?
yeah.
Okay, back to my original question. Looking at these numbers that you wrote on this, can you determine how much money was put into the two machines at the First Ward Club during that time period?
Yeah.
How much?
Give or take.
Can you calculate it?
Yeah. Roughly 62,000,
$62,000.
roughly,
Is that for total for both machines?
total for both machines.
This time, Your Honor, we'll play two quick conversations, again in Book 3.
Let's take then our short afternoon. It's 10 minutes to 3. We'll be back at 3 o'clock. As you know, we're breaking at 4. So let's make sure we're back at 3.